If you want to be the common man, if you want to be the common sister, man, and just live your life and clock out and be done, then just continue moving like the common man. But if you want to do things, man, that your family said, you know what, like this is not normal. Like, you can't live like that. You can't build that. You can't have that business. You can't achieve that goal. You can't get a male or a female in your life like that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to achieve the impossible, brothers, I'm telling you, you're going to have to be willing to.
Is it not written in your law that ye are gods? You understand what I'm saying? So it just depends on what level you own based on, whether you're human or whether you're immortal.
At ease, it's your boy Soul Immortal. How to accomplish the impossible. How to accomplish the impossible. Brothers, this morning, my morning read, I was coming out of the Master Key System by Charles Hannah, one of my all-time favorites, definitely one of my top fives, right? And I was just looking at some old notes, man, that hit on this subject perfectly, brothers. How to accomplish the impossible, right? And if you look at part 12 or chapter 12, however you want to look at it, it starts off by saying this, brothers. It says, there is no purpose in life that cannot be accomplished through a scientific understanding of the creative power of thought. Then it goes on to say, the only way to keep from going backward is to keep going forward. Eternal vigilance is the price of success. Then it gets to the meat and potatoes. It says, there are 3 steps, and each one is an absolute essential. You must first have the knowledge of your power. Second, the courage to dare. And third, the faith to do. And it's pretty much saying if you can master these 3 things, nothing is impossible, right? So knowledge of power, right? Now I don't know if a lot of y'all remember this, man. This was a good while ago, 1993-ish, right? It was a playoff game, football, NFL, Buffalo Bills and the Houston Oilers. One of the greatest comebacks in NFL history, I believe, still at this point in time, right? Long story short, guys, playoff game, man, Houston came out dominating, whipping Buffalo in every way, shape, form, or fashion, right? Halftime score was 28-3, I believe. They said half of Buffalo's fans had left. The commentators were talking bad about them. They said the team had pretty much just gave up. It got so bad that in a playoff game, they took the starting quarterback out and put in backup Frank Reich, right? Frank Reich. Now I believe Frank wasn't no Pro Bowler. He was no future Hall of Famer, no none of that stuff. He was just your standard issue backup quarterback, right? But one thing they didn't know about Frank is Frank had a little history on him, man. Frank had the record for the largest comeback in college history, right? Now, they said the whole energy changed when they put Frank in, man. They said, everybody just started clicking. Everything started going right. They started putting points on the board. And I remember reading it. It said that it got so crazy that all the fans that left were trying to come back. And they had one-way tickets, so they couldn't come back in. They said fans were climbing the gates to get back in. They said by the time the game was getting ready to end, they said it was standing room only. In other words, more people that came in than it went out, man. They said it was straight crazy. And long story short, man, they came back and they got the win, and it was known as one of the greatest comebacks, one of the largest gap comeback in NFL history. But the thing that stood out, man, is the interviews after the game, man. They were interviewing a lot of the players. They interviewed Frank. They interviewed the coach. They interviewed Marv Levy, which was the coach at the time. And they said, did you think you were going to be able to come back? He said, I knew it was a possibility. He said, but I felt like we had a greater chance winning the lottery than getting the win in this game, right? And the thing that stood out, man, I remember when they were talking to Andre Reed, right? Wide receiver. And they said, Andre, how did y'all pull this victory off? And Andre was just in a different zone, man. He was almost shocked. He said, what I experienced is something I've never seen before in my life. He said, I could literally see the adrenaline coming out of my teammate's skin when I was in the huddle. He said, I ain't never seen anything like that. And I was like, well, what do you mean, Andre? And the brother just shook his head and said, he says, we finally woke up. So what does it mean to be woke? What does it mean to be woke? Because people use that term all the time in separate communities throughout the gram and throughout YouTube. What does it mean to be woke? Is the woke man the person that has a collection of books? Is the woke man a person that can quote you philosophers and talk about, certain things that happened, in ancient Egypt and all this stuff? Is the woke man someone who can simply put Bobby Hemmett in their intros? It's none of those, guys. It's none of those. The woke man is simply the man that has discovered who he is, and what he's capable of. It's a full knowledge of self. Like, that's the woke man. I'm gonna tell you, brothers, last night, for y'all, and some of y'all are subscribed to my IG. If you're not subscribed to my IG, subscribe to my IG, man. Last night, I hooked up with my brother, Mr. Infinity, and we went in on a variety of subjects surrounding this. And for me, man, the moment that opened my mind to the moment that to put me in a whole nother zone was when I dove into the Kabbalion, man. When it really broke down who I was, when it broke down the oneness, when it broke down the all, when it talked about the only thing that consists that's real is the all, God, or whatever you want to call that thing. And when I read and it said that that's the only thing that's real and every single thing else is an interruption of that reality, brother, I don't know why that did it, but that unlocked so many chains in my brain, unlocked so many doors in my mind, and it fully showed me who I was, and what I was capable of. So the first part of having knowledge of your power is knowing who you are, knowing what you're capable of, and finally understanding that nothing is impossible. You know what I'm saying? You first have to come to that reality of knowledge of self. The second step says you must have the courage to dare. The courage to dare. One of my favorite stories, man, of all times, man, one that motivated me, in ways like no other, brothers, was the story of, you ever heard the phrase burn the boats, right? And wonder where that come from? 1519, Spanish conquest over Mexico. There was a commander named Hernan Cortez, right? They stormed the beaches of Mexico, and it was said they had 11 boats, right? It said all the soldiers were scared. All the soldiers were thinking of plan Bs. All the soldiers were thinking about family back home and just thought that taking an L was on the agenda, right? So it said that the commander turned around and said, you know what, soldiers? Let's burn the boats. Let's burn the boats. In other words, he says we need to put ourselves in position where we either win or we just meet our demise today. Like, there should be no other option. And it said that the soldiers, man, burned the boats, man, and it put them in a mindset of, you know what, win or nothing else. They stormed the beach, stormed the country, stormed the capital, won the war. Story over, man. Very motivational story. But we've heard that before. We've heard that before from our brother 50 Cent. 50 Cent said, I'm going to get rich or I'm going to die trying. The courage to dare, brothers. I jump out of a plane at least once a year, man. I like to go skydiving at least once a year because I just like that feeling of first flying up, man, and building all this, adrenaline up and building all these possibilities up, all these scenarios in my mind, and jumping out and feeling that freedom. But the most exciting part about the whole free fall, man, is the moment before they get ready to pull that parachute. You're contemplating life and death. You know what I'm saying? You're contemplating like this could actually be my final moments, man. And it brings you to a reality with death. It puts death in your face, eye to eye, man. And I'm telling you, I love experiencing that feeling at least once a year because it keeps me in check. But because it keeps me in check that death is the worst case scenario. When it comes to having the courage to dare, I'm telling you, I found that the thing that petrifies most people is simply fear. And we all know that. I mean, whether it's fear of losing money, fear of losing a job, fear of losing a loved one. But when you look at it, man, it ultimately, for me at least, it ultimately boils all down to the loss of life. Like to the loss of life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you can check that box, if you can get a full understanding about the loss of life, you can get a full understanding on death and understanding that we really can't die, that we live eternally. But I'm telling you, it'll give you the courage to step out in anything, man. You know, it's a lot of people, man. I know a number of people that have traits, that have abilities, that have skills to step out and do things and start businesses and live on their own. And it's simply fear that's keeping them back. And I'm telling you, if you want to achieve the impossible, you know, if you want to be the common man, if you want to be the common sister, man, and just live your life and clock out and be done, then just, you know, continue moving like the common man. But if you want to do things, man, that your family said, you know what, like this is not normal. Like you can't live like that. You can't build that. You can't have that business. You can't achieve that goal. You can't get a male or a female in your life like that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to achieve the impossible, but I'm telling you, you're going to have to be willing to put your whole self on the line and be willing to take a L if it comes down to it. High risk, high rewards, man. High risk. And I'm telling you, playing it safe is not the answer. You have to have the courage to dare. Now, the third point says you must have the faith to do. You must have the faith to do. What does that mean, really? You know, I just made a video and I said, are you moving like the messenger? Are you moving like the messenger? I talked about people going to church and all these services and different religions for their whole lives and still choosing to move the same way. You know, the Bible says, is it not written in your law that ye are gods? How can we read that all the time? How can we hear that all the time and consistently move the same? I'm telling you, when it talks about having the faith to do, brothers, at some point we have to start moving as if. We have to start moving like the beings that we are. We have to move as if we have knowledge of our power. We have to move as if we have the courage to do. And we have to stand on faith, man. We have to stand on solid ground, man. You know, and the thing I don't understand, man, is like who wants to live a life and not be in that zone, brothers? It's like now is the time for us to swap and get in that zone. I've been saying that like playtime is over. The way this world is moving, the way the energy is shifting, it's like either you're gonna get on that boat or not. Either you're going to get on that boat or not. It's like there's no more gray area, man. All the stuff we've been studying for years and reading and it's like, brothers, now it's time for us to stand on it. In a nutshell, all I'm saying is this, brothers. We have to understand that life it needs to be taken serious at the same time of understanding that life is a game, that life is the illusion. You know, knowing both of these should put us in a comfortable position. You know what I'm saying? Like at what point in time are we going to start swinging for the fence? At what point in time are we going to stop playing it safe? At what point in time are we going to stop letting fear control our lives? And I'm telling you, brothers, the thing that hurts me most is that a lot of brothers know this knowledge, understand this knowledge, and still refuse to stand on it. Still refuse to stand on it. Or still allow the world to keep them in a box. Still allow the television shows and the sitcoms and the radio and the teachers to say, you know what? No, this is where you fit. This is what you're capable of. Now, don't look at people that are doing great things. No, don't look at the Elon Musk. Don't look at the Martin Luther Kings of the world. No, you just calm down and stay in your little box and have your little greatness. I'm telling you, brothers, it's time we start swinging for the fence, man. It's time we need to live every day like it's our last. We need to live our lives as if the day we die, they're gonna put our life story on broadcast, and everybody's gonna know how we move. Don't you want to shine? Don't you want to be amongst those that hit the home runs in life? Like, why settle? If one man can do it, then all can do it. Like why? And when I'm talking about, I'm talking to us. I'm saying us as men, as common men. We need to start swinging for the fence, brothers. It's that time. Like the energy that's taking place on this planet, the shifts everybody is talking about, and the divide between knowledge and all these things. I'm telling you, there are brothers that fully understand this knowledge, this concept, this understanding, and still refuse to stand on it. All I'm saying, brothers, it's time for us to start swinging for the fence. It's time for us to start accomplishing what seems to be impossible. I know one of my other favorites, man, and I came out of Secret of the Ages the other day, Robert Collier. It says this. It says, the man who waits for favorable conditions and favorable circumstances will find that success in any field is never a walkover. It is the man who wins in spite of circumstances, in spite of adverse conditions. The man who wins when other people say he cannot. The man who does the impossible.